Ladies and gentlemen, we are back on the Blazer again. I had to take a week off. Just the workload here at my shop has been crazy. For the people that don't know, I do collision repair 9 to 5, and this fun stuff, well, it's just that. It's fun, it's a hobby. So I had to get a lot of stuff handled, prepped for last week, and here we are Tuesday, and I'm waiting on parts. I'm in between some stuff, so I'm going to jam on this thing for a minute. Nothing here today is going to be any really big milestones. It's just a lot of little things. I've had people say that I need more of the small content to see the little tips and tricks along the way. So, yeah, we're going to try one. Now, we're going to try to polish the dash metal. We're going to rebuff the truck, just get that hard shine on it. Probably going to bring the top over, put the new weather stripping on it, maybe get it on, see how that goes. Put some more of the trim on. I'm going to show you how to polish out the rear finish panel, put some taillight lenses in, put some wheel up new moldings on. You know, just kind of tinker, make it look more like a truck, because to me, the biggest hurdle is going from this like plucked chicken shell of a vehicle to making it actually look like a truck again. And for me, that's the little stuff, the taillight lenses, the emblems, the bumper. Even though that none of the front sheet metal's been painted yet, it'll look a lot like a truck with just what I'm going to do today. So stick around. You know, we're going to do some pretty cool stuff, show you some little tips and tricks, how to save a little money here and there, do things yourself instead of buying parts, because parts are expensive and they're hard to come by right now. So we're going to do that. And you know, before we get too carried away, like and subscribe, share it to your friends. You know, let's make this community even bigger. Let's have some fun with it. So here we go on the first task. So here we are on the inside, and you can see this dash metal has seen better days. You can just see how dull and faded, and I mean, it's got just a little bit of dust on it, but it's not really dirty. It's just old and whooped. And you know, you could repaint this, but that's just so much work. And the paint itself under here is still good. And how do I know this? Because I went ahead and did a little test spot right there. Now I know this doesn't look like much yet, but look how much shine. That's just one little quick pass with a buffer. Look how much that shine came up. So I'll show you what I'm going to use here and how we can save a lot of time and money by just polishing what we have. Alright, so for the polishing, I'm going to use the same stuff I use on all my cars, inside and out. Black wool pad with Presta Ultra Cutting Cream, part number 131932. I'm going to go over this, and that's going to get a lot of that oxidation off. Going to really bring that shine up. And then we're going to go back atop of it with a green foam pad and Presta Chroma Ultra Polish, part number 133532. Great stuff. It's going to give us a nice shine, protect it really well. We're going to use just a good old-fashioned Makita rotary buffer for most of everything. We use a little Harbor Freight air buffer with a universal pad, just for some of these like nooks and crannies and things where the regular buffer is just way too cumbersome. So we'll use that over there. And hey, by the way, let's talk about this pro tip right here. Look at this, just a sheet of plastic over the floor. Now, two purposes here. Purpose number one, you don't want all this stuff makes a mess. You don't want this all over everything, then you have to clean it up again. Purpose number one. Purpose number two is we did dynamite in this thing, if you remember. So let's look right here. Everywhere we laid a sheet, there's a seam. Okay, and that's fine. You know, if you lay carpet right over this, you just forget about it. But if you ever have to work inside of here, every one of these little seams, you can kind of see on this one, every one of these seams will have just a little bit of that tar squidging out of it. Now it's cold today, it won't be as noticeable, but when it gets a little warmer, or if you sit on this for a long time, it warms the tar up, and the tar will push out and stick to your clothes and ruin a pair of pants. Ask me how I know. Now would you look at that? I mean, that is such a big difference. You know, and I haven't even wiped all the funk off of it yet. And wow, it's already just way, way shiny. I mean, like, yeah, that's nice. So, wipe that down, put some wax on it, and that's that. It saved a ton of money and a ton of time. One big step we're doing today is measuring for a drive shaft. And if you've never done it, pay close attention. Now, every drive shaft shop is probably going to be a little different. And you just need to contact your local driveline place to find out exactly how they like it measured. My drive shaft shop, this is how they like to do it. So, first things first, take your yoke. This is a brand new one from my local driveline shop. There's the part number for you. It's a GM27 spline. I think they're pretty universal, but I just told them what I had and what I was doing. There's different yoke sizes and there's different lengths. I didn't want to guess. I didn't want to, gamble whether the one I already had was correct, so just get a new one from them. They say this one is rated up to, with this size yoke, is rated up to like 450 or 500 horse. We're not going to be anywhere near that, but yeah, it's just a nice peace of mind to have a little better one. So first things first, the yoke, bump it all the way in until you hear that, okay, until it's completely bottomed out. Then once it's bottomed out, the driveline shop recommends backing it out 3/4 of an inch, and I'll get my tape measure to confirm that. So here we are with it bottomed out right at 1/2 inch. So got to come out 3/4, which is going to make it roughly 1.25 inches. If I can get it right. Come on now. And so they specified 3/4 to 1 inch. And what that's going to do is, as the rear end moves up and down on the leaf springs, it's going to pull in and out on the yoke. Okay. So it gives it that extra play so that it doesn't bottom out inside of the trans and, ruin everything. So 3/4 to 1 inch. So we're good there. Now we go to the back. So here at the back, quit acting like a fucking idiot. Here we go. So here at the back, the drive shaft shop wanted to know a couple dimensions. Now this is just a regular 10 bolt. You have to excuse the mess. I still haven't cleaned and painted all this yet, but they want to know a couple dimensions. They wanted to know the width of the cap here and the distance across. And if you guys don't have one of these, you've got to take an old measuring tape and cut a foot section out of it. It's so easy to work with. So they want this measurement, they want this measurement, okay? That's to identify which one we have here. Apparently there's like 3 or 4 of them on 10 bolts. So we're going to identify that for them. And then what we're going to do is measure it from the mounting flange right here Okay. We're going to go from this mounting flange up to the center line of the front yoke. So measure from here under this is called the strap. Under the strap, measure from right here to right here, our center line. And that's the information my particular drive shaft shop wants. So it doesn't matter if that's the way you would normally do it, that's the way that you need to communicate it to them so that they do it properly. But here is the key to measuring this. Is to measure it with it on the ground, with the weight on the tires. And this is how we do it. Some people make these out of wood. I made them out of steel. They're called cribbing blocks. Look them up. You can put jack stands under the rear end, but this is just a little more accurate. And the reason we do this is because, like I said, as the wheel moves up and down, the drive shaft's going to go in and out. You want the correct measurement to be while it's driving down the road normally, not compressed or droop. If you measure your drive shaft with the truck in the air and the rear end drooped, the drive shaft is going to be too short. Ask me how I know. These finished panels are anodized to protect the aluminum, and it just gets this nasty, hazy look to it after, 30 something years. But you can bring it right back to life. Now, a lot of people will take and strip the anodizing off, polish it, then they'll rebrush the center. And sometimes you have to do that. But with this one, it's actually in really good shape. It's really straight. It's really nice. So this one, we're just going to polish it with none other than, you guessed it, a Harbor Freight tabletop buffing wheel. Real simple, real cheap. I think these are the wheels that came with it. And I'm using their red polishing compound. So super simple. You just get this thing fired up, put a little of that on there, and then you just take your panel and you kind of just work it around. So I'll show you. Real easy to do. Alright, so the last thing for today, we got the dash buffed, turned out nice. We got the finished panel buffed, turned out nice. Running a little behind on what I anticipated doing today, but that's just me. I'm a way overachiever in my mind. Last thing we're going to do is paint the steering column. As you can see, I've kind of stripped it down a little bit. I'm waiting on this guy. It's supposed to be here tomorrow. I thought I had one. Can't find it. Story of my life. So I'm going to trade this out just because the chrome looks bad on it. Just covered up the turn signal switch and everything. Got a new steering wheel, you'll see that. Taped this up, kind of taped up the dash. And we're going to use the handy dandy Sim Trim Black. Part number 39143. I use this stuff for everything. It is the truth. So I'm going to put a couple coats of this on, and yeah, it's going to look as good as new. And one of the many great things about this stuff is it lays so well. It has the perfect satin, and it's very forgiving. If there's any little imperfections, it seems to kind of hide them all. So it's great stuff. A fresh can, shake well, and go at it. Light coat, you can see we have the dash taped up. This spray paint doesn't make a ton of overspray, so just some 18-inch sheet around it and just a couple nice light coats will freshen this thing up. I will say to prep, so we got first little coat on there while we're waiting for that to flash. Another thing, it flashes very quickly. So to prep, just cleaned it really well. It had a little bit of crustiness. You can see where I broke through in the metal right there. just kind of sanded that down with some 320. Like I said, this stuff's very, very forgiving. And yeah, it'll blend right in. Don't pile too much on at once. Just give it a little dusting and walk away. You pile too much on at once, it's going to want to run. I know it's easy to get excited, get in a hurry, but don't. Put a coat on and walk away. And there we go. Look at that nice satin finish. I'm telling you, that trim black is where it's at. So, as you can see, got her painted, got a new turn signal switch, the new lock cylinder, cleaned up the shift handle, and to top it all off, my light will work here. There we go. Yes, that's right. Comfort grip. One of the best steering wheels for the 70s, 80s GM stuff. Love these things. And especially the little horn button, you know, red, white, and blue because America. So, yeah. Don't worry about the gauges. Those things are getting replaced. We got Dakotas and new vents and dash pad, but you know, they're starting to freshen up a little bit in here. And that's a wrap today. Well, today is now tomorrow since the video started. What ended up is, let's take a downtime day that I'm waiting on parts to tinker with this thing, turned into 2 days because supply chain issues. Just another great excuse for people to be lazy. But hey, we're not going to get on that subject. I've got a lot of good work done. As you can see, new taillight lenses, bulbs under there, new emblems. I mean, just come on, look at that. We got, let's see, bumper installed, top installed, fender opening moldings. Starting to kind of look like a truck. This is really motivating. But unfortunately, I have to get back to the real world tomorrow and work on customer stuff. But hey, there's always the weekend. Got pretty cool projects coming up. I don't know what order we're going to do them in, but we're going to do a fuel system video, and we're going to do a video modifying some inner fenders. That'll be really neat. So, yeah. Appreciate you sticking around if you have. Like, subscribe, share. You know the deal. I appreciate everyone sticking around. And, yeah, until next time, thanks.